Did any of you guys get an answer for number 2? What one? All right, so number 2, it says find the maximum value of f of x equals x cubed plus 3x squared minus 9x minus 2 on the interval 0 to 2. All right, so if you're doing this, you need to find f prime of x, so 3x squared plus 6x minus 9. Pull out the 3, so x squared plus 2x minus 3, and factor. So x minus 1 times x plus 3. So x equals 1 and x equals negative 3 are critical values. You're only on the interval 0 to 2. So the only one that really matters is 1. I always put like the endpoints on there so I know it's a closed interval, so I need to check the endpoints. If I check 0.5 in my derivative, so right here, if I check 0.5, I have 3 times a negative number times a positive number, so it's negative. If I check 1.5, I get positive. So it means it went down and then up. So that's not going to be a maximum. That would be a local minimum. So how do I find the maximum value?
Check either side.
Yep, you need to check the endpoints. So we do f of 0 and f of 2 to find how high those go. So the y values for 0 and 2. So if I check 0, that's easy. It's negative 2. If you guys check 2, what'd you get? I believe it's 0. So plug 2 and you get 0. All right, so which one is the maximum then? 2. Now do I write 2 and circle E? No. It says the maximum value of f of x is something. Whenever you talk about the maximum value, you're talking about the y value. Yeah, so our answer is 0. So it's a max of, we'd write max of 0 at x equals 2. So that's our of thing. All right, this one I have f of x equals the absolute value of x plus 2 times x minus 4. Okay, this is kind of a hard one. Okay, we can think of it like a piecewise function. We can also graph it, so you guys can graph this on our y1. So go ahead and graph it and see what it looks like. Yeah, you can go to math and then number, and that's absolute value. Okay. When you do this, you get something that looks like this. Okay. So here's what's happening. Okay, what is the value that makes that 0? So just the absolute value part. Not a hard question. What makes the absolute value part 0? Negative 2. All right, so basically you're thinking of this as a piecewise function. So for values where x is less than negative 2, your function is different than when it's greater than negative 2. Okay, so if it's less than negative 2, well, let's think of greater than negative 2. That's easier. So if I think of like, you know, plugging in negative 1, don't you get the exact same thing out as if you had just had parentheses there? So if I plugged in negative 1, don't you still get 1? Okay, so negative 1, 1, so negative 1. Maybe I'm thinking of the opposite, so negative 1. Oh yeah, I'm doing great. Yeah, so what do we need? So negative 2. So we need the opposite of that for this one. We get the opposite, right? Oh, that's going to help me. Okay, x plus 2. Okay, so negative 1. No, we still get 1. That's what I was doing. I was thinking of negative. Okay, so we get the exact same thing. So x plus 2. So see how if you plug in negative 1, you get the exact same thing as if you just had parentheses. If I plug in 0, don't you get the exact same thing as if it was just parentheses? So any value that's greater than negative 2, you get the exact same thing. Okay, now what if I plug in something smaller than negative 2? So let's plug in negative 3. If I plug in negative 3 here, I'd have negative 3 plus 2, and then I take the absolute value. So what do I end up getting? 1 times x minus 4. Okay, that's the opposite of what you would have gotten if you just had parentheses. So that's going to be the negative with x plus 2 times x minus 4. So you could have thought of it that way. So basically at 2, or negative 2, you have some kind of critical point. It's changing into a different function, which I think you guys can tell, right, from the original. Okay, where's another critical point, though? Yeah. Do you guys know where that is? Oh, my graph is different, isn't it? It should really be over here somewhere. I didn't draw it very well. Okay, so we need to find that point. What was it? 1, comma, what? I guess it doesn't matter. 2? So 1, yeah, 1, negative 9. So that point down there is 1, negative 9. So that means the critical points are negative 2 and 1. So C. What was 4? Why was 4 a possibility? It's not a point of inflection. Do you guys look at your graph? What happens at 4? Yeah, it's x-intercept. So it would have made this original equal to 0. All right, so negative 2 and 1 are our only points. Now what you could also do is you could actually find the derivative of these individual things. Okay, that would work out too. All right, so now number 4. So number 4 is a little bit easier. So this one says f prime of x equals the absolute value of x plus 2 times x minus 4. So if I'm finding a critical value, I'm finding when it's undefined or when it's equal to 0 for my f prime. So it's equal to 0 at negative 2 and 4. So B is your answer for 4. All right, 5, if f prime of x equals 6x squared plus 8x and f of 1 equals 11, then f of negative 1 equals question mark. Okay, this is a hard one. We talked about this very, very briefly. This probably will not be on your test this time. It's the antiderivative. Do you guys remember how to take the antiderivative? So if I have f of x equals, you need something cubed. I heard someone say 2x cubed. Do you guys see it? What would I need for the next part? So x squared with a 4 out front plus some kind of constant. So I gave you a hint to find that constant. I said if f of 1 equals 11, then f of negative 1 equals something. So f of 1 is going to be 11. So everywhere I plug in a 1. So I get 2 plus 4 plus c equals 11. So what's c?
5.
Okay, so that means that f of x is 2x cubed plus 4x squared plus 5. We found c. So plug in negative 1. So negative 1 times 2, so negative 2. Negative 1 squared is 1, so plus 4 plus 5. So what do we get? 7. So that's our answer. Okay, we'll be doing that all second semester, so don't worry, we'll be doing plenty of antiderivatives. All right, 6 is something from 5.6, which is going to be on our next little quiz. 7 is as well. So let's see if there's any more we can do. And then we'll skip the free response since I gave you the possibilities for your test. So you can try those ones as well. I think a couple of them are repeats. 2008, number 3 is a related rates one. That's 5.6. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're going to play Jeopardy for our review.